Curie.
And I am among those who think that for this reason, science has great beauty.
Marie Curie was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize and remains the only person to win the prestigious award in two different fields, physics and chemistry. This is the story of one of the most brilliant and determined scientists in history, whose groundbreaking discoveries changed the world forever. From her struggles as a young woman pursuing science to her revolutionary research on radioactivity, her journey is nothing short of extraordinary. Watch this video until the end to uncover the challenges she faced, the sacrifices she made, and the lasting impact of her work on modern science. Curie was born into a family of educators. Her father, Władysław, taught mathematics and physics, while her mother, Bronislava, was a dedicated schoolteacher. Tragedy struck early in her life when, at just 10 years old, she lost her mother to tuberculosis. From an early age, Curie displayed an insatiable curiosity and a natural aptitude for learning. She excelled in school, but despite her academic brilliance, she was barred from enrolling at the University of Warsaw, which only admitted men. Determined to continue her education, she turned to the city's underground floating university, a network of secret, informal classes designed to educate women and others excluded from traditional institutions. Curie and her sister, Bronia, both aspired to earn higher degrees abroad, but financial constraints stood in their way. Undeterred, they made a pact. Curie would work to support Bronia's medical studies in Paris, and in return, Bronia would help fund Curie's education once she completed her training. For nearly 5 years, Curie worked tirelessly as a tutor and governess, using every spare moment to study physics, chemistry, and mathematics. In 1891, her perseverance paid off. She arrived in Paris and enrolled at the Sorbonne. Dedicated to her studies, she lived frugally, often surviving on little more than bread and tea, which took a toll on her health. Her determination never wavered. In 1893, she earned her master's degree in physics, followed by another in mathematics the next year. Her academic achievements were only the beginning of what would become one of the most remarkable scientific legacies in history. On July 26, 1895, Marie Curie married Pierre Curie, a French physicist. Their paths crossed through a colleague shortly after Marie completed her studies at Sorbonne University. At the time, she had been commissioned to research different types of steel and their magnetic properties, but needed a laboratory space to conduct her work. What began as a shared passion for science soon blossomed into a deep personal and professional partnership. Initially, both pursued independent research, but Pierre later shifted his focus to support Marie's groundbreaking work on radioactivity. Together, they became an unstoppable scientific team, making discoveries that would change the course of physics and chemistry. Tragedy struck in 1906 when Pierre was fatally hit by a horse-drawn carriage in Paris. Devastated but determined to carry on, Marie took over his teaching position at the Sorbonne, making history as the university's first female professor. In 1911, her personal life became the subject of scandal when her connection to Paul Langevin, one of Pierre's former students, was exposed. The revelation stirred public outrage, fueled by anti-foreigner sentiments in France at the time. Marie and Pierre's family life was also deeply intertwined with science. In 1897, they welcomed their first daughter, Irene, followed by their second, Eve, in 1904. Irene Joliot-Curie carried on her mother's scientific legacy earning the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1935, alongside her husband, Frédéric Joliot, for their work in synthesizing new radioactive elements. Meanwhile, Eve pursued a different path. In 1937, she wrote Madame Curie, the first major biography of her mother. The book later inspired a Hollywood film, bringing Marie Curie's remarkable story to an even wider audience. Marie Curie's scientific contributions reshaped our understanding of physics and chemistry. While conducting research with her husband Pierre, she identified two new radioactive elements, polonium and radium, through their work with the mineral pitchblende. Her relentless dedication to science extended beyond discovery, as she also played a key role in advancing the medical use of X-rays after Pierre's passing. Curie was deeply inspired by Henri Becquerel, the French physicist who found that uranium emitted mysterious rays, a phenomenon weaker than the X-rays recently discovered by Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen. Determined to explore further, she constructed meticulous experiments and found that uranium's rays remained consistent regardless of the element's condition or form. She theorized that this radiation stemmed from the atomic structure itself, a groundbreaking revelation that laid the foundation for atomic physics. It was Curie who introduced the term radioactivity to describe this new phenomenon. Building on her findings, she and Pierre analyzed pitchblende, a naturally radioactive ore, and in 1898 they successfully identified a new element, which they named polonium, after Marie's homeland, Poland. Soon after, they detected another radioactive substance, radium, and in 1902 they successfully isolated a small quantity of pure radium, proving it was an entirely new element. With the outbreak of World War I in 1914, Curie shifted her focus from laboratory research to applying science in the field. She spearheaded the development of mobile X-ray units, which provided crucial medical imaging for wounded soldiers. These portable machines, dubbed Little Curies, helped save countless lives by allowing battlefield doctors to diagnose injuries more effectively. Even after the war, Curie remained devoted to advancing science. She visited the United States twice, in 1921 and 1929, to secure funding for radium research and establish a dedicated institute in Warsaw. Curie made history not once, but twice. In 1903, she became the first woman ever to win a Nobel Prize in physics, sharing the honor with her husband Pierre and Henri Becquerel for their pioneering work on radioactivity. The recognition solidified their global reputation, and the prize money fueled further research. 8 years later, in 1911, she won her second Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry, for her discovery of radium and polonium. This achievement made her the first and only person to receive Nobel Prizes in two different scientific fields. Despite Pierre's passing, she acknowledged their shared contributions in her acceptance lecture. Around this time, Curie collaborated with some of the greatest minds of her era, including Albert Einstein and Max Planck, at the prestigious Solvay Congress in Physics. Marie Curie's dedication to science came at a great personal cost. On July 4, 1934, she passed away from aplastic anemia, a condition believed to be caused by prolonged exposure to radiation. Unaware of the dangers at the time, she often carried radium in her coat pocket and worked closely with radioactive materials without protective measures. Curie's influence continues to inspire generations of scientists. Numerous institutions bear her name, including the Curie Institute and Pierre and Marie Curie University. In recognition of her remarkable contributions, she was honored with one of France's highest distinctions. Her remains, along with Pierre's, were interred at the Pantheon in Paris in 1995, making her the first woman to receive this tribute based on her achievements. Her life has been the subject of several films, including Marie Curie, The Courage of Knowledge, from 2017, and a biopic featuring Rosamund Pike in 2018. Decades after her passing, Marie Curie's legacy remains one of brilliance, perseverance, and scientific excellence.